Hi, ACLEAD students. So you have finished a vocabulary launch to practice some of this week's vocabulary that will appear on the quiz. You have also finished the To Be Heard documentary and recorded effective notes using the note-taking strategies we talked about yesterday. Today we're going to focus mainly on writing effective summaries. You just received back your Malcolm X Learning to Read summary. Your paper that you received back should look something like this. I'm going to go through now how you need to change yours. As I walk through the changes, please make sure to make these changes on your paper. The first thing I'm going to do is write in my name. I'm writing in my first and my last name, and I'm capitalizing both. Please make sure you've done this on your paper. I'm also going to write in today's date. When you all wrote this, it was on the 10th, so I'll write that as well. I'm also going to write in my class period, which will obviously change depending on what class you're in. I'm then going to scroll down to the topic. The question here reads, what is learning to read about in 1 or 2 words? So remember, a topic is the big idea, the main thing it's about. There's a number of answers that you could have given, possibly reading, or you could have written learning, or you could have written literacy. Many of you wrote literacy, but make sure that you only wrote the topic in 1 or 2 words. If you didn't, please pause and correct this now. Now under main idea, we're working up to the main idea formula. For the author of the text, most of you got this correct. You wrote Malcolm X. Remember, since Malcolm X is a name, we begin it with a capital letter, and X is also capitalized. This was the name he gave himself. For what is the purpose of the text, we're choosing between 3 purposes, either to persuade, to inform, or to entertain. Remember PI. Now this text is a story about Malcolm X learning to read. Many of you wrote inform, which is actually incorrect. A text that informs you is typically a text with instructions or a text from a textbook, but this is a narrative, a story about Malcolm X learning to read. I accepted one of 2 responses. I accepted either to persuade or to entertain. If you wrote both, that was incorrect though. You must choose one and explain why this is the purpose. Please now make sure you only chose one purpose for the text and correct your paper now. When you wrote about what the author says about the topic, your answer to that would depend on whether or not you said to persuade or to entertain. If you chose persuade, you must say what Malcolm X is persuading us about the topic of literacy or reading or learning. If you chose entertain, you can also do the same, but you don't have to tell us what he's persuading us of. You can just tell us a little bit about his literacy story. Now, question 4, many of us struggled here. I want to remind you the main idea formula is a really specific thing that we follow. It starts with the author's name, then it goes to the author's purpose, and then it goes to what the author says about the topic. If you look here, up here at 1, 2, and 3, it was very intentional that we started with who is the author of the text. So the author's name goes first. Number 2 says, what is the purpose of the text? Notice the author's purpose goes second. And then finally, what does the author say about the topic is the third. So if you answered 1, 2, and 3 completely and thoroughly, you essentially have your main idea written for you. The main idea for this text could look something like this. Malcolm X entertains the reader through his literacy story in prison. It could also look like this. Malcolm X persuades the reader that literacy is important to succeed in this world. Something like that. They both work. Please correct your main idea now using the main idea formula. You can pause this video. I'm going to continue down now to the Malcolm X summary. This is where most of us started to really struggle. It's okay if you did. This is why we're doing this assignment. I'm going to go now to the handout for today. You should pull out the handout for today and turn to the part of the text that says Malcolm X reflection. This is below the vocabulary. It's going to say number 1, I began the summary paragraph with the main idea formula. Now, once again, every summary paragraph you write should begin with a main idea formula. Please check and make sure you began your summary with the main idea formula. If you did, circle yes. If you did not, circle no. You can also pause the video and correct this now on your paper. 2 says, I used the sentence starters to write my paragraph. You'll notice I gave you sentence starters on the handout from the Malcolm X topic, main idea, and summary handout that you received in class. Many people did use the sentence starters, but many people did not. Please get this out and see if you use the sentence starters. 3, I focused on the 3 most important events or details from the text. Now, this was something that came up in a lot of people's essays. A lot of people's summary paragraphs wrote about not the text itself, but actually parts of Malcolm X's biography that weren't even included in the text. So if you mention things like Malcolm X was assassinated or Malcolm X had a really hard childhood, that wasn't actually in learning to read. So it shouldn't have been included in your summary. Your main purpose in the summary is to capture what happens in the text, not in Malcolm X's life. So please circle yes or no after reviewing your paragraph. You can pause here. The final piece is just a quick check to make sure that you capitalize the first word in all sentences, the title, and any names, such as Malcolm X. Go back and correct this if you did not. Once you're done, please complete 5 and 6. 5 says, one thing I did well was, you can finish the sentence, and 6 is, one thing I will change when writing my to be heard summary is. Once you complete this, you can continue to make edits on your Malcolm X summary paragraph and wait for everyone else to be done. Thank you.